Tap screen sharing.
Why you don't want to see my screen anymore? You hate it that much? Okay. Does anyone else want to post this and now just like post the link to this, or should I? Actually, let me just go
You
make sure
should
this
do
is
it, but
working
but
first.
but I'll post the link around in other places though.
Okay. We're gonna become Twitch famous. My God.
Hello, everyone.
One of you should turn on the stream audio. Let me know what it sounds like.
Sounds fine.
I sound fine. What about you?
I sound fine.
What about GC?
Can
Do
you
I
say
sound
something?
fine?
That's what I'm saying. Let me hear.
Test, test.
Yeah, you're fine.
All right then.
So sorry. Well, the good news is I didn't even make this, honey. It was Beppis. He's a very good artist. And he made this in about 2
Agreed.
seconds too, so that's basically that. How do I really start this off? Okay, I guess we're just gonna be talking about things tonight. Let me go look at the list of topics over here. Hi, this is me. I'm Dantu. I have Jelly here, and I have GC. We run the Honeypot, and we're basically just gonna be talking about for things relating to Ring Racers in our server over here in an open format because I hate typing. I can't read either, so this is a good way for me to do it. If you two want to introduce yourselves, you can.
Hey there. I'm Jelly. I also helping with the tournament organization part of things.
Hi there, MGC. I'm also another co-TO. And I pay for the servers.
That's the most important part, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Ugh, okay. I think I'm gonna be the one pseudo hosting this, and I haven't done this before, so be patient with me. But I think our first topic, we're basically just gonna start off talking about the past over here. Let's talk about the Saturn Showdown. What a great tournament, fellas.
Agreed.
It was fun to watch and to play on. And to organize too.
Was it fun to watch though?
In my opinion, yeah. Even if there were some iffy things and some like devious playstyles, I think overall it was a fun watch to see how people play the game optimally, at least in this version.
Devious playstyles.
hmm
Is that what we call bagging now? Is devious.
We can't use the word fraud anymore, it's mean. We have to stay positive.
Stay positive, talk about everything in a good state of
hmm
manner. That's fine.
Be constructive.
Okay. Well, let's go by this day by day. What did we think about day one of the tournament over there? Because I think that was generally the one that was more well received.
It was for sure pretty exciting seeing all the new faces in the server because we got 64 players. It was a full house. So thanks everyone for joining. And I hope, at least for the players that lost in round one, to not feel unmotivated and like keep joining our events. And something of note, at least a highlight for me, was the 1v1 between Piki and Logan. That was just divine intervention at the very end.
The very first set of the tournament winner playing against one of the tournament favorites to get out of the first round.
Yeah.
Isn't that so awesome?
It was fun until the very last interaction. I don't know if you remember the Orvi.
The backwards
Where,
Orby that somehow
yeah,
came back and hit Picky. Yeah,
yeah,
pretty
really
tragic,
too
bro.
many. It was tragic seeing like some players you expected to like make it far die so fast. But it is the game.
Yeah.
It's just what the game is right now.
It kind of is just the game, because I think going back and looking at the math after like the first round of like groups had been done, there was only one group out of the 8 that were played where the 4 people we predicted to go through actually went through. Every other group either had an upset or somebody who had to go. That was just kind of all over the place from the very beginning. It made things entertaining, but it makes it hard to predict too what exactly is going to happen in this game. You got any thoughts on that, GC?
Day one,
Mm-hmm.
I think day one went about as smoothly as it could go, and probably smoother than any of our V1 tournaments. It also had the best participation in terms of entrance. It also had the most viewership out of any of our V1 tournaments. Out of had more viewership than any of our V1 tournaments in about. I haven't compared the numbers between the first tournament and the second tournament, but it was either the same or more. So it really couldn't have gotten any better.
It was
And to
great for me.
reiterate,
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
reiterate what Kelly said, there was also a lot of new blood, which is good to see. Just the same the same players you've been seeing the past 5 years entering.
We had a lot of new faces. There was a lot of people I had never seen before. Especially some of the ones that actually made it past round 1 that we had no idea who they were. That's the part I think I like to see the most. And I think that's what makes the day 1 so great. Do we have any notes about the beginning of the redemption bracket 2 on day 1? Because I think that also went pretty smoothly, as did the most of the redemption bracket.
I
I
wasn't
think
able to watch or be around for that, so I'll stay silent.
just at the beginning, I guess we need to make it more clear to make people know how the redemption bracket works and like that it's there right now. I tried my best, but I guess we need to try a little bit harder.
Write it out a little bit more in clear
Yes.
letters.
But it still got like a pretty good entrant number. I think we got 32 for that one, right? Or at least we got it like at many groups. How many groups did we get? I forgot.
We
Already.
had 4 groups to start for the redemption bracket because we filled out 29 out of 32 slots.
Right, right. Yeah, it was pretty good attendance. For an event you had to sign up like right away.
Yeah. I guess the only other thing of note about day 1, there were some very good upsets outside of the Picky and Logan thing. There was a lot of good people that went through. Because there was a second tiebreaker in Heat F over there too between Riosco and who was it, Turk Coffee, that ended up with Riosco going through just barely, and that was a fun one to watch.
True. Congrats, Riosco.
Agreed. Congrats to Riosco. I'll say one thing about the redemption bracket. I think perhaps we should have named it something else, or I guess explained it more clearly, because so there are a lot of people that didn't know what it was or thought it was like a loser's bracket, like a double limit tournament, even though, in my opinion, we were pretty clear that it wasn't a loser's bracket. It'll confuse people.
Yeah. It's something that I saw in the survey over there too, and that's a fair point, but that's probably something we can address for future ones. But I think if that's all our notes on day 1, let's talk about motherfucking day 2. My god.
Oh boy.
Any immediate thoughts that jump out about this day? Because I could say a few things, but do you fellas have anything?
It was way more competitive as a player. It was pretty exciting to like try my hardest and reach for the final round. Mm, but
But
I
you
think
were
this,
also playing honest.
mhm. And well, I'm still like in the mindset that when you play a game, you will accept it with like all the flaws and everything. Mm. Oh, I lost my train of thought there.
Oh no,
No, I had a pretty good point. No,
it's over.
it is over.
But
Maybe
I think I know
maybe
what
it
you're
can be
saying over
defended
there.
for yeah.
When you play a game, especially because I think from the very outset we had the rules of anything goes. And I think with that being clearly established, you kind of have to accept everything that's going to happen in this game, I think. And sure as shit, a lot of stuff happened.
Yeah. Oh, I remember. Yeah, you can see where the like game design flaws start showing up more frequently when players start abusing some of the items and tech that's already in the game. That's where I was going with that thought. But I still think it's good to like explore the game and like lab the game to know what's really powerful, to know what the best strategies are. And it's up to the people to decide if they like those like play styles or not, and that's where you decide whatever you want to keep like playing on this game or not. But I still think it's there's some sauce in this game, so I still like day two. Also, yeah, to me, bagging is when you go out of your way to perform bad in the race so you get better items.
Yeah. And that's a lot of what we ended up seeing on day two, because I mean that's the prevalent strategy that won the whole tournament with Astro over there. And let me just say this, for whatever he said in his winter interview, he was right, but we do not condone what he said. I repeat, he is his
Agreed.
own man. He said whatever he pleased.
He's a young man also, so please don't take it very seriously.
Yeah,
He will get wiser.
in due time, I'm sure.
Mhm.
But anyways, I guess a couple of the other things that we saw on day two. I actually don't even remember. Denny did it on one of the days, but he kind of opened the whole like can of worms on the top stuff because he did Dark File 1 over there. So that got out into the world. And then we just saw all the rest of the bagging basically from day two. And how the bracket, it basically became a situation of the main bracket devolved into something people like despised and did not want to watch because of the bagging, and then the redemption bracket became the real honest bracket that people actually enjoyed watching.
At least we had like one bagger set and then one honest set, so it wasn't like entirely baggy for the whole stream.
But I think it's good that we got this experience out of the way.
Agreed. I'm glad it happened early on.
Yeah, correct. Because I'm also on the thought that if you start like banning things right away, you will like start ignoring the issues.
The issues with the game.
Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
think if you preemptively ban things, that's bad. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what we've been trying to avoid too, but it looks like we're not going to be able to avoid that forever because I think a couple of these items are just too broken. But we'll talk about that in a minute. In terms of
Right.
grand finals over there, I mean, we already kind of addressed Astro, but was there anything else that stood out to either of you?
Other than the play styles, not really. I enjoy my time playing
You enjoyed
and
your time
watching.
playing.
Yeah, even if I perform the worst on the finals, but it's a game.
I think an interesting statistic to look at from the finals too is because I think I'm at least under the impression that Excel is probably the best like speed stat in the game, like anywhere from 3 speed and below. But in that finals, there was only one person playing like anywhere below like a 3 speed. There was only one person playing anything above a 7 speed, and then the other 6 were all in the middle playing 5 speeds with different variations of weight. You think that says anything about the stat blocks of this game?
I think Ring Racers in terms of stats is still more balanced than B1. I don't think I don't think it I don't think the game is ever going to be so balanced that all 81 stat blocks are equally balanced.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be like a center of stats where like it's the most optimal way to play, but to like continue to what GC is saying, that's a little bit true because you can adjust your play style. For example, if you are a Chow player or a class A player, you will want to go more for the jackpots, and that will like get you more victories, like that play style. But you can switch to like another stat block, like a more front running or like a more item driven play style. So there's still like some variation, and well, at least right now, it doesn't really matter because the items are so strong that overall, probably all of the inner strategy that can go with those
Um,
playstyles.
it's kind of what I've been thinking too, just because of how strong the items are. I think a lot of the nuance between the stat blocks, at least on Gear 2, Gear 3 we don't really know yet because we haven't experimented, but Gear 2 right now feels more like the items kind of determine your game rather than what character or stat block you choose.
Mhm.
And I guess that's a good time. We can start transitioning to talking about some of the items of the game. Unless either of you two have like notes about the tournament over there. Because I think all in all, at least the tournament itself ran pretty well. I think it was fine overall. It kind of devolved into a mess of bagging towards the end. But I don't think that's something we could have really seen coming and really super prepared for. But at least we know for now, like now, and we know for next time.
For sure. Thanks everyone for joining the
Agreed.
tournament
As thanks to anyone that played or watched.
and streamed.
Oh
That
yeah.
too.
That's the most important part. The streamers over there. Okay. Let's just open the elephant on this one and let's just say, what do we think about Shrink, fellas? My god. What an item.
I think when something is like that strong, there's like not many points like that you can make to like you can do like a very like super big essay when the issue is so clear right now. Uh, I listed my three biggest gripes with the item right now, or the three things that make it like the best item right now. Uh, the first one is that the growth time is uncapped, so in some instances you can, and mostly like on the multi-lapper where you get to constantly hit the grow lasers, you can run like multiple laps while on grow, and that's like really powerful. And when you're running like multiple laps with your item slot being free, that's also my second point. You can combo that into like imbents, you can combo that into uh rocket sneakers or like a top, I guess, if you want a big ass top. And my third point with shrink is that the It's mostly like a nitpick to me, because when you use it, there's like some areas of the map where like several shrink lasers spawn in the same spot, and that's a super like big reward for whoever has a grow, but whoever doesn't have it, like it usually spawns in the front. So that means everyone in the race will go through it. So the further back you're in the race, you're basically like more fucked. Those are my current thoughts of
Right.
Shrink.
What about you,
So
GC?
I don't think shrink should give the user grow lasers. I think shrinking everyone in front of them is more than enough of a benefit. And then regarding what Jelly said about the lasers should have like a hard cap on the number of lasers, how spaced out they are. I'm not even sure if that's possible.
With weapons,
Given
maybe.
because I've seen as many as 8 lasers in like one spiral,
Hmm.
and that makes them undodgeable. And it stacks. It stacks the shrink timer and it stacks the grow timer for the person that popped the shrink. And there's also this game, just grow in general, or the grow timer rather, in this game is just busted. It just lasts way too long. And it doesn't run out when you get into first.
But I think that's more of an issue of there being like no upper cap on the item, because you literally just pull it and then you just hit every laser and you're gone. Because you combine that with stacking items too, because you get your invinces and then you get to catch up a little bit, and then you pull like your big like trap items or defensive items, because what we would call huge quest in V1 is base game in this game. You put down these hazards that cover like half the track, and you basically just deter people behind you from ever trying to catch up. I mean, because what are they gonna
And
do anyways?
the giant, there are a lot of choke points in Ring Racers tracks where a giant item can completely cover like a hallway or an entrance. But very few V1, well, not very few, but if a mine took up an entire width of an area in V1, that was considered bad track design. For some reason, it's not considered bad track design in Ring Racer.
Yeah. But I feel like that's just more of the instance of Gro being able to pull these items and cover these areas anyways, even though some of the default items can, in certain instances. I'll say this about Shrink too, because I think the interactivity and the idea of it in this game is much better than it ever was in V1 or most other like universal like kart racers that have like a universal item like that, like the obvious example being the lightning in like Mario Kart over there. Because at least at least if you're the one driving against it, you can at least try to dodge the lasers, and if you do dodge the lasers, you don't get shrunk. So there's at least a chance.
Did I die over here?
No, I think I died. Oh my god.
That's okay. I think it got
Uh,
on the actual audio recording.
Oh, did it? That's good. I think the shrink police got
okay,
me for that one.
maybe. Did you repeat that? Because I didn't hear what you said when you were talking about the lasers.
I was basically saying I think it's good that you can at least dodge the lasers, so there's at least a chance and there's
Agreed.
an idea around it. I think the biggest problem with this item is just the benefit the person that they pull it, they get from it. Because you get uncapped grow basically, and you get huge items. So you basically just have infinite catch-up.
Well, you get uncapped grow, huge items, and you can also combine girl with star, girl with a shield, girl with rocket sneakers.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the strongest part of that is that it's a pretty risk-free option. Because if you start chaining it with embeds, there's not much you need to care on the road other than bumper and I guess the Blue Mountain hazards, because those are indestructible.
The snowman should just be on every track, huh?
Yeah, because you will be killing hazards, players, you will be ignoring off-road. It's
And then
pretty
for
ridiculous.
every player you hit, it extends the timer.
Yeah, at least with embeds.
Well, I think we've said most of what we need to on Shrink over here, but I have, this is an idea I had, and I'll just leave it at this, and then we can move on to the next item. This was my idea for balancing it. I proposed this one before. What if it just hogged your item slot? To where you couldn't pick up other
Right.
items while you had the Shrink out?
I think just making it so you don't get grow is already enough of a nerf.
Well, maybe. But I still think it's at least a cool idea that it gives you something. I just think the reward it gives you is just like way too good right now.
Hmm. Yeah, the design itself or the idea, I think it's good. It just needs some fine tuning.
Well, I'll just leave that one out there then, but we can move on to the next item over here. Let's talk about Garden Top over there, shall we? Everyone's favorite item.
Garden top, baby.
I know.
Going into the tournament, I was unaware that any of those garden top skips existed. I knew
But
that
now
it
you
was
know.
a strong item like top 3, but I didn't know that it could do that on top of everything else it could do. I also didn't know that it just ignores stair jank, water physics, off road, all that. It just does everything.
It quite literally plays a different game. You're not playing ring races when you get on the Garden Top. That's at least what it feels like.
Yeah, even with
Hey,
all the skips banned, I think it's like a pretty strong item in contention with Shrink over there.
yeah, you're just playing Kirby's Air Ride. You're not playing ring racers.
Mhm.
Kinda.
Also, it's better Excel than Star. It can potentially go faster than any other power item without having to be comboed.
And I think
I
it's.
wrote
Oh, go
some of
ahead, go ahead.
the I wrote some of the strengths of the item, like what makes it so strong. And I heard GC commenting on Sturjank. So here's what. Well, I guess you listed most of it. So it ignores uphill slopes. That's a big part.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean physics in general. You don't have to like use rings or anything to go uphill. Ignores like Sturjank. That's on a lot of maps right now. Like you mentioned, it ignores off-road. It ignores water physics.
Either
Ac
Astro.
mhm. If you're going straight, like not drifting, it clashes with grow and embeds. So that's super strong. And
Agreed.
if you're still like not charging, it also kills bananas. And orbiting items also don't kill it. You have to like straight up shoot it, or like you need to run into an egg box. And on top of all that, it causes stumble when you aim it at someone. And it can also hit yourself. Like I feel like there's a lot of like randomness going on with the item, which which in my opinion I don't like it. I like more consistent game design. And I think I got also another clip. I'm gonna dig through it, so
I can
you
talk
can
over
wait
here
a
while
little.
you're looking for it.
Yeah, you can wait a little bit. Uh,
Well, I mean,
well,
obviously, it is just a
mm,
broken item. I think Denny made it very clear with Dark Violet Castle over there, and potentially a few other people who may or may not be named, that it can do just about anything. Because combined with all the crazy stuff it already does, you have the little exploit over there
mhm.
that lets you just get
Either
infinite speed from the spin dash, and it just kind of
either
breaks
big.
everything.
Not
Yeah, I
only do
think.
you get it in the middle of the pack, you can also get it from like certain capsules on certain tracks.
Yeah. I mean, you can literally just get it in second place too. Like, it comes up in the second place table sometimes, because it comes up in that table that has like the single shoe, whatever that third item is, and then it has like a garden top.
I think item odds in general in this game are just too generous. But second place, because I've seen second place get star.
It is extremely generous, especially considering how powerful the items are in this game. You
The
just
game
get
also has the
rewarded.
option. The game also has the option to turn on frantic items, which make them even more generous when in the vanilla item odds are already too generous as it is. The game just jumped from one extreme, like V1 was too stingy with items, especially if there was hairpins. If you put the item box before a hairpin, now it's too generous, and you can pick your items on top of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Kwon has a pretty good point there. Like being able to
Agreed.
select your items makes a lot of the, and it's bad because it's mostly like the B1 items. It makes them like outclassed by the new ones,
Yeah, pretty
Also,
much.
hi there, Kawan.
because no one wants to pick a banana anymore. That item is, poor thing, probably like the worst one right now.
I mean, I think I've been telling you two this since like
Yeah,
the beginning, but I think with the advent of being able to choose your own items, the game is just going to become stale in the regard of people are only ever going to choose the same 5 or 6 things, because they're always going to memorize where the 1 or 2 items they need are on the roulette, and then just always pick for them. And you're never going to really see the other items. Picking items is an
agreed.
interesting idea, but where the skill in V1 was, hey, when you get a random item, it's kind of like you have to work with what you got and make the best out of your situation. Now it's just like you kind of just choose the situation you put yourself into. And it's like a different idea. Some people like it, some people won't, but I think it introduces new problems that just have to be worked through as we go like develop more into this game. Well, do either of you have any
And
more notes
also,
on? Oh, go ahead, go ahead, go
yeah,
ahead.
since we're talking about let's anyway, no other kart racing game or racing game with items, to my knowledge, gives you the ability to pick what item you want, other than ring racers. So I find all of like the hand wringing and whining about when we did a singular test session with the auto roulette be I don't know, just entitlement.
I mean, I wouldn't
Are the
really say
players being
entitlement.
spoiled?
This game definitely spoils with the items, but it's just how the game is made. I don't think it's entitlement. I think it's just how the game is designed. And auto roulette isn't the answer for this game, but something's definitely got to give with the item system here soon, whether it just be nerfing the items or doing something with the roulette.
Also, hi there, Neo.
I think you're
Yeah,
getting
from
called out,
the
GC.
yeah, from the session that we played with the auto roulette on, we like realized even more like how important it is to like pick your own item. Because if you're like in fifth place when there is a roulette, I mean around fifth place because item like the odds do not relate to the placement, but you can basically get like two sharks or like triple sneakers, and like everyone is just gonna pass you or hit you with their power items, and that's like
Also, hi there, Jade.
that's not even the worst of it. You can just like straight up miss an item set, and that is so bad because to catch up, like if you miss both the item set or the ring
Ring
box,
box.
you can go back and get it for sure. But if you like keep driving and to stay on the race, you need to start using your rings, which we haven't even like touched the ring meta yet. But yeah, you have to start using your rings, so that puts you like more at risk than just like having a power item. So it just like starts snowballing down whenever you get a bad item or wherever you like miss an item set.
Also, Chillendo and Jade, thanks for the clarification about how items worked in Diddy Kong Racing. Neo, thanks for the clarification about Lego Racers. Although, as Jade said, the balloons in Diddy Kong Racing didn't give you every single item. Like when you touch an item box in Ring Racers, you get the roulette has every item in that use out staple. You touch a balloon, Diddy Kong Racing, you just get the item associated with that balloon. Like you touch the one that gives you boost. You touch the one that gives you the rockets, you get the rockets. You touch the one that gives you the magnet, you get the magnet. You don't get to choose the entire item table in that game for one balloon. In fact, I'd actually be kind of okay if Ring Racers did it that way. Ring Racers already kind of does it that way if item capsule.
Did he die over there?
Do day.
I guess GC died. I think the item capsule
I,
police got you,
I'm
bro.
talking.
He's here.
Maybe I died again.
Hello?
There you go. You can continue your point, bro. It's okay.
Now I made my point.
Okay. Well, do we have anything else to talk about Garden Top over here? Because what I think we can do now, I think Garden Top and Shrink were the big two, and we can just kind of rapid fire through the rest of the items here.
We could
uh,
perhaps discuss Garden Top nerfs.
How would you nerf the
Perhaps
item?
they could be done with low. Make it so, well, as Jelly pointed out, it's sort of like it has like pseudo invincibility. You could just make it so if you get hit by anything, you get off the top. That would be a very fair and balanced change to it. I don't think you could change the physics or make physics apply to it, or that would make it terrible. Making it have the same amount of Excel as like a star, that would be a reasonable nerf.
I will kill the tumble. Honestly, I hate it.
Making it
Would you?
not tumble would also be a good nerf. Like not everything in this game needs to tumble.
Well, not everything in this game does tumble. I think it's just the things that do tumble are pretty damning.
It's a pretty damning mechanic overall.
It is.
It's a race killer.
We can talk about some of the mechanics here in a second.
Mhm.
I think let's go through a few more of the items, specifically the ones that stand out. I think the first big one is invents over there. What are the
Mhm.
rapid fire thoughts on invents here?
I also had a list about invents. Like I said, with shrink, when you combo it into invents, it carries like very little risk because you don't have to care about anything in the road basically, other than your lines and possibly bumpers. Also, like has super good acceleration, and you can auto wave dash. Wave dash is super strong in this game. It gets the extensions when you hit someone else. It doesn't eat an item slot, so you can chain invents forever. And it also causes stumble, so getting hit by invent, it's pretty damning itself. And I guess I'm
And
just doing some like propaganda over here, but because I'm also advocating for a invent nerf, at least for now, it's
well,
is that probably shrink is the only item that keeps invincibility in check because of the shrink race.
don't forget that if you hit whenever you hit someone, you also extend your star timer, and then also it stacks with itself. So if you hop in invents, go through an item set, get another invents, it double it stacks,
Hmm.
and also doesn't run out when you get into first.
Yeah. And that's where the little clip I sent you down to will take him
You want me to pull it up over here?
play. Yeah, I just want to like pull off an example of like the power of these items.
Press the old replay here.
Trust
Yeah, that's the Denny
Yeah, that's the
explode.
Denny.
it's close for being player.
Neos's video. Yeah. Also, I did really good.
You guys didn't tell me. How come?
Because everyone's here and there.
Let's do it. Let's turn it down a little bit more. There you go.
I mean,
Yeah, you can see that
play.
already has a shrink, and it's lap 1. Uses it lap 1 and uses it in race. And you start chaining them while going for the shrink race over there to extend his duration. Nice. Keeps doing that. There's like little to no res, you don't need to care about items. There's that big ass windmill.
And he smuggles the star all the way up to second. Last lap. And he gets a star in second.
Big ass windmill again.
Okay. And he still has the invents in first.
And bro. But yeah, the strategy just like carries little to no risk right now.
I'm just sitting in the back and bagging on people.
It is a good race though. Good lines, Warner.
Good lines, you gotta compliment him on his driving.
Yeah, I mean, at least the driving was good. Otherwise, you wouldn't catch up. So there's like some skill involved, I guess. But the risk is like much lower than the reward.
Yeah, that's basically how it goes. I mean, I think that's just one side of the coin, though. I think we can transition from the power items now to talking a little bit about the front items. Because let's talk about defensive play and how kind of dead it is in this game.
No.
I think it's just super dead. I'll start off with that because this kind of goes into the ring stuff now, where you're thinking about if you really want to try to be in the front and like keep up and like take like speedy good lines, you want to be using rings. So I think a lot of the idea of holding on to items while you're towards the front and trying to use them at opportune times, a lot of it that's lost in this game. Because there's just a little too much value put on using your rings and just throwing out your items immediately.
Yeah, currently the ring mechanic it's too centralizing. I was doing some racing today and I noticed that if you're not using rings, you are probably like averaging like 100 to like 90% speed, like if you're not using rings. And when you have at least like a single bar like from the ring box, you are like at 120%. So that's a big ass like change. Like it you basically move at a snail's pace when you have
Yeah,
your item. And it's pretty yeah, it's pretty damning for the defensive play. One thing I that was like I guess deep or like complex about B1 was like the item play mind game whenever like you had to guess if the person in front of you had an item and you had to like what's it called? Yeah, just drive around them or like be more risky. And right now you need to like use your item. You have to mash it out because if you're not mashing your item out, you're just out of the race.
Well, I don't think it's that drastic, but I think it's more like one of those situations where just like you never want to be holding like for extended periods of time. So most
Mhm.
people are generally going to dump their items out in like a lot of the same spots, and that's not too far away from item sets. Because if you're in
Yeah.
the front and you want to try to keep it at all without taking perfect lines, you have to use rings. And that basically means you can't have anything in your slot. And it's especially bad on like the maps that have like a lot of uphill because you want to be like trying to power through some of these slopes, and you also can't really do that super well while you're holding an item. You can squeak out sparks with some characters, but not everyone can. And I think it just sucks sometimes trying to get through these things. So nobody's ever gonna really be holding like an Orby or like a banana or anything or an egg box for like far after an item set. You're more generally just wanting to throw it out early.
Hmm.
You got any thoughts on that, GC?
on the ring meta
Yeah,
or defensive play
both.
of, as you said, defensive play is basically dead. Even like a very simple situation where like there's a Jaws on you, you try throwing an item backwards to get it off you doesn't really work in this game. The Jaws will just hit you from the front or the side. That is like super basic defense.
Yeah, but Jaws are also like their own
And
problem over there.
yeah, and there's it seems only the bumper is like the only thing that could like get someone to respect your space.
Yeah, it's probably the counter to most of the power items. And that's one thing I forget to mention. Yeah, right now all the power items, like I've been saying this, are designed to like catch up to first place. That's the current like design right now, and it's probably horrible. I mean, at least right now, it feels horrible to front run because you're basically in a 1v7, and let's say you got like an Orbi or like even a bumper, and you manage to like kill someone who just passed you, or like you manage to use your bumper on like one of the players with invents, you still have to care about like 6 other people with power items because everyone is
Yeah.
just like pushing through on the race.
And in that situation, even if he used the instant whip, at the most you'd only be able to whip one person.
Correct.
Well, you can hit 2 people. You can hit multiple people with one insta whip, but that's situational.
They would have,
That depends on them being
yeah,
close together. Yeah.
they would have to be all bunched up. Yeah.
So it's really hard. It's really hard in this game because I'll say this, I really like the driving in this game. I think it feels really well with some of the changes they did, but it feels like terrible to want to ever try to drive well or front run because this game feels like it rewards you more for being behind first than being in first.
You can only sort of kind of front run on like web filter tracks on like Gear 3. Like you can kind of front run on like uh
That's like maybe.
yeah, Def Egg would be one. Any track where people can fall off easily. In Gear 3 you can kind of front run. Anything else, literally anything else, and if it's on Gear 2, no.
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like that's everything we have to say on defensive play right now. I guess we can transition a little bit more to the rings and then the actual items, because let's start with this one. What do we feel about Jaws, fellas? How much do we like that item in particular?
Jaws has
Well,
three like states right now. It's like a perfect item that like swerves and puts itself in front of you and like kills your race. Either it's either like a pretty bad item, like if you shoot it from like a bad speed, it basically will never hit. Or the third one is where like it goes crazy and it starts like spinning a trillion times at max speed around you for whatever reason.
And
It's
then
pretty
that thing either
consistent.
comes back and hits you, the person who throwed it, or after doing like 5 spins, it finally hits the person after they've used their item to try and hit it.
Yeah.
also hi there, Picky.
Hey, Picky.
Uh Ring Racers Jaws feel like CGB Jaws, in that Jaws were basically unavoidable. And they would hit you from the front or the side because they just went way too fast and the homing was way too good, essentially a red shell or SPB. And then Ring Racers, they do the same thing. If you have a tether going, if you're at 100% or faster, they're just always going to hit their target.
Hmm.
And they're not going to hit the target from the back as they did in V1. They're going to hit them from the side or the front.
Yeah. And Neo has a pretty good point over there. Like USATs too can pull like Jaws pretty frequently. Right now I send you the table, but it goes proximity mine, then it goes 2 Jaws. So if you're in second place, you really only have to like either like hold your item button to get the instant Jaws and like kill first place. And
And yes, Jay, tether makes Jaws more accurate.
mhm. And after those 2 Jaws, there's like 3 more items, and they're like double Jaws again. So it's super consistent to pull Jaws in second place for whoever passes you, or just for first place. And yeah, there's like almost no counterplay.
It's just, it feels like, I know I can't really say this because I'm like big baby bagger, always sitting in the back, but Jaws is like the most infuriating item in this game. Because it's literally either the best item or the worst item in the game. It will either rob you of everything or do absolutely fuck all. And it is so infuriating to play against that. It's like, it's impossible to predict what it's gonna do. Like, just how do you know?
Yeah, you need to like pray that it starts targeting someone else when you see the little reticle on you.
Well, that's basically Jaws. What other items do we have? I guess a couple of the other ones we can talk about. What about Bumper over there? Because that's in contention for being one of the few good items first place can pull.
I like it. The only thing I like have problem with is this when it turns yellow and when it turns red. I think the momentum it gives you, it's also race killing. It sends you to the start of the map, sends you back to the tutorial.
I'll say this. In V1, it was very rare to get hit so hard you got turned around 180 degrees. And in Ring Racers, anytime you come into contact with the bumper, that you will probably get turned around 180 degrees.
I think it just depends though, because sometimes it'll hit you from the back and it'll just win you races. I mean, we've seen that one too, even in tournament.
I just like damage boosting in general, and yeah, I've seen people get damage boosted with the bumper into cuts, or like skyrocketed through the finish line.
Just a very wacky item. But it's probably fine right now, because it's got the place of being one of the better front-runner items. Because it's one where it feels like you can actually do things where you hit people in power items.
Hmm.
And I guess the same can be said for Eudoro, because Eudoro is the other really good one for first place right now. What do we think about that item?
It is a slot machine, at least for first place. So whatever, like you pull like an Embens or something better, but it's mostly good. And I like the like change in design to like whoever hits it gets like the ignore off-road effect. I think that's pretty good. I like the item right now.
Agreed.
A good idea. I like what they did with Eudoro a lot, and it actually feels really well balanced. I guess the only thing that's like super funny about this, which I don't even know what you do about it, is that you get the power items like as soon as you drop into second place for like a frame.
Hmm. Yeah.
Also, hi there, Soul.
Hey, so
Are there? I guess Orbeez are just whatever. Banana feels useless. What do we feel about Eggbox, fellas? Because I think that's a pretty contentious
Although
one.
I'll say that only giant bananas have any use, and same goes for giant Orbeez. Otherwise, they're probably the two weakest items in the game.
sadly.
As for egg boxes, I disliked Egg Panic in V1, and I don't like that they made it a formal mechanic in Ring Racers. I don't like that you can also take items fuelless with Egg Panic, and you can also outrun the explosion. So there's no downside to using it in in picking up an egg box in certain situations. You could even purposely set one down, take it the next lap, take a cut itemless while you're in first, and then not get no punishment.
Yeah. At least to me, it feels like they give you a few more of the tools to actually outrun the egg panic in this game, whereas V1, if you pulled egg box and you dropped it and the server had egg panic, you were actively putting yourself at a disadvantage. At least you can try and pray to use rings to get away from somebody if you drop an egg box on them in this game and they're right next to you. But I think the most damning part about it actually has to do with invents too, where motherfuckers and invents can pick up the egg box and then they run into somebody, not only put them in like a 2-hit tumble, but also give them the egg box, and then they explode after they fucking finish tumbling. That's gotta be like the funniest thing. Cause it like just destroys you so hard.
Yeah, I don't like that Star and Bro are able to pick up egg boxes. It's like they ported huge quests into Ring Racers.
I don't even think it's that bad with Grow though, because at least if the person in Grow picks it up and they can't give it to anybody, they still get punished for it. In Vince, there's just no punishment for picking it up. So it
Yeah,
literally becomes a weapon for them to use.
hmm
You're right,
yeah.
you're right.
There's more like ways to like counteract egg box this time. Like if someone starts driving into you, you can easily like park and start like charging a spin dash and use your ring. So I don't think egg panic is that bad in this game. The only thing that's pretty damning about egg panic, well, even not like that damning because it also gives you a speed boost, but yeah, it just makes you like lose your item in a game where items are used so powerful. But you don't see that many egg boxes nowadays, though.
Well, because I think people have
Agreed.
memorized the first place roulette, and they're not going to really be
Yeah.
pulling for it.
hmm
I'm probably going to move on here to talking about ring boxes and just like a
Okay.
little bit more about rings. Are there any other items you two want to address before we go to that?
I just wanted to say, do you guys feel that trapping is just not as good in this game in general outside of like giant items?
It
Maybe
doesn't.
Hugh.
It doesn't feel as good.
I think it's harder to people to go out of their way and trap spots because they have to hold their item for so long. It's mostly that because I've seen like some good ass traps, like someone shooting a bumper across a tripwire, so people just cross the shortcut and go back from it. So I think it's still powerful, but you need to go like super like throw your race basically to set up a good trap.
Maybe not throw your race, but you definitely have to like sacrifice a little bit, and by the time you actually like get that trap down, it becomes a question of not of whether or not it was actually worth it to
hmm
go out of your way to trap something like that. It's harder in this game too because this isn't necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but lines are just way more varied in this game. Because this isn't really a game about taking the best line, it's more just about all the strategy around it and getting to the finish line. So everybody's taken different lines. It's not like V1 where there was like one good line on every track that you knew people were going to take and you could trap it pretty easily.
Not
hmm
just more lines, but also a lot of tracks have split paths.
True too.
Also, most servers, including ours, we cap the number of players. Fewer players, fewer traps.
That too. And I think probably like only bumper is a really good trapping item because invents right now is so prevalent in the item sets in the back. So if you like use a banana or a mine or even a landmine, it's just like pointless because they will just like drive over it and destroy it.
Well, I think that covers it for at least the items. Let's talk about I guess this kind of goes with it, but what about ring boxes over there? Because I think that's a pretty big one right now too. And this is starting to move away from items necessarily and talking more a little bit about mechanics.
Hmm. I'd like the design of ring boxes, in my opinion. I like the mechanic behind getting jackpots. I'm still not sure how balanced it is. I feel like it's fine, but I also like that it's like rewarding to the player, like players like getting the jackpot and like start seeing like a lot of rings and the catch up. And you can still like get hit while like getting ring boxes, so I think it's like a pretty good trade-off and the like risk reward.
It's a pretty balanced like function of catch up, right? That's at least what it feels like.
Hmm.
I think the only real problem from it, and this probably isn't even a problem, is just when you get the classes like the Excel characters who just stack ring boxes together and kind of just like take away a win from somebody. Because that usually tends to happen
Agreed.
towards the end of races too. If you have an Excel or like an Excel character, or maybe even like middle, like one of the middle speeds just sitting behind first place and second place and taking all the ring boxes behind them, they're just gonna kind of speed through and take it at the end. But it's good that it's at least there. It's probably a better trade-off than just everybody having an item, or
Yeah.
how powerful the items are in this game.
Yeah, I'd rather people about half the server gets rings, half the server gets items, than everyone gets items.
We'll have to see how busted the rings get if we ever do Gear 3 stuff though, because that's probably where it's gonna get exposed a lot.
Yep.
But ring boxes for right now are probably fine.
Oh, and I guess this is a glitch. You could overcharge a spin dash to pick up 2 ring boxes from the same set or 2 items.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad one. That's what people were doing in the tournament too. And that's what contributed to a lot of the bagging.
Supposedly that'll be getting removed in V2.4, but who knows when 2.4 will come out.
Whenever it comes out, I think it'll be fine. I think as long as they do their best with the patch, I think it'll be fine. Oh man. We've been talking for an hour already, huh? That's crazy.
Ooh.
That's fine. Most podcasts go on for hour minimum.
I know. But talking is so hard, bro. I like this little format though of communication. I think
Agreed.
this is still better than writing everything out. Typing is hard. That's true. Let's see. I have this one written down as a brief topic, but if either of you, before we move on to like the next big topic, do either of you have any game mechanics you would like to talk about? Things built into the game? Because I have a couple, but if you guys want to start, you can go ahead.
Mm,
Okay, I'll say that I dislike any mechanic where it just makes driving or handling feel bad. And a lot of the appeal to V1 and was that your cart, as long as you weren't playing like a 9 weight, your cart felt snappy, responsive. Whereas, and it seems Ring Racers introduced a whole bunch of mechanics where it's just hard to drive. That's the only gimmick. such as underwater driving, stair jank, upward slopes, etc.
Is underwater driving like really taking control? I think it's just like different.
I think it's a little different, but I honestly don't
Oh,
even think the underwater driving is that bad. I think it's just
Mhm.
something that's there to spice up gameplay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a fan of it. And I think like defending, I think because a lot of people like really hate this mechanic, defending Sturgeon a little bit. I think it's like more of a matter of like map design rather than the mechanic itself. Because at least in B1, uh you had like ice maps and those were like fine for the most part. And it just behaves like the same actually. It just like items like star also get affected by it, but it's you still like interact the same as if you were interacting with ice. So I don't have a like a super big problem with it.
So you're a stair jank believer now, is that what I'm hearing?
If it's
I
like
would I would like stair jank more if more like state if more item states ignore the stair jank. Only the top ignores stair jank. In V1, certain items ignored ignored off-road and ignored certain like effects like no shoes could ignore friction. There's nothing like that in ring racers. Like only the top ignores the effects, the physics.
mhm,
Everything else, you just go faster, but you still have the same physics applied to you.
yeah, because you're still on your card over there. You're still like touching the ground. I think it's fine whenever the map design is good. But yeah, I can see like some set pieces that feel like horrible to drive on. Where Jank has like a lot of
It,
to do with it, like in Barren Badlands or in one of the special stages. I
I
forget the name
agree
of it.
that it's half a map design issue, and half a game design slash mechanic issue. But I still don't really care for it. I'll just I'll cope, I'll deal with it, I'll get used to it, I'll adapt, but I still don't like it.
That's fair. I still think it's the most damning when it's on the edges of like the outlines of roads over there though, like Barren Badlands and Void Dance are the two that come to mind. Because I think it
I
makes
also
those two
dislike
like miserable to drive.
I also dislike when it's combined with off-road. Having off-road is already enough. You don't have to put upward slope physics and or stair tank on top of that.
Oh yeah, that little section on chemical facility. Yeah, I can give you that one. That section is where like Sturgeon feels horrible. Also, Sunsplash Getaway has a lot of off-road combined with Sturgeon. That's also like super valid to hate IMO.
Sunsplash is a completely different beast.
Hmm.
It's bad because it has mandatory off-road. I didn't like that in V1, but very few tracks in V1 even had that because it was considered bad map design. And I don't like it in ring racers, let alone combined with stair tank.
Hmm.
When I think of off-road combined with stair tank, I was more thinking of like some of the special stages. If you like the checkerboard part of the road is like the main road, and then like all the edges that are like white, they are they are both off-road and stair tank. And they should just be only off-road, in
It
my
feels
opinion.
like off-road is more slippery overall too. I can give you that one because that's actually like punishing to the player, and like when you get sent off the off-road to the off-road, like yeah, it's really hard to combat. You have to like stop and do your spin dash at that point.
Or burn rings or both.
Mm.
Also, there are a lot of cuts in the game that have, aside from being, aided by a tripwire, they also have off-road inside of them, which is completely unnecessary. So if you ever, like, let's say you ever get pushed into them through no fault of your own, like someone just hits you, you go super fast, you get pushed into a tripwire, now you're stuck in off-road.
Yeah, I can see that part. That part's pretty damning, but that's more of an instance that's not gonna happen too often, or it shouldn't. So I don't think it's that big a deal. But it could definitely have some effect on some races, especially as people get better at
Agreed,
punishing.
but I still think if a cut is already gated off, if a tripwire, there's no need to have like it be like all off-road on top of that.
Yeah.
Because let's say you take the cut with grow, you only have grow. Now you're gonna be mowing off-road. You may not even save time.
I mean, I guess you also have the respawn button, because that's what Jade said.
Agreed. Agreed, Jade. You can respawn. Although I think I guess we can go back to a mechanic discussion since we didn't discuss respawns at all. I think in this game, in Ring Racers, respawns are either they're way too forgiving and they put you ahead of people, or it's the opposite where it's like you get a very strange reason. Well, I wouldn't say it's like 50-50. It's more like 99 to 1. You get a very strange respawn, which is worse than a V1 respawn.
Yeah. And I think the very weird ones only usually tend to happen when you go through a cut and if you like fall off. Because it'll usually put you before the cut that you fell off on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this, like, I think as a
Or they'll do
baseline, in this game, the respawns are way more forgiving. But I think it's just the way that they
agreed.
actually respawn you is what makes people hate them. Because the visual of, like, you falling off, the respawn stake sending you back a little bit, and then forward, I think people only, like, registered the part where they get sent back a little bit in their head. And they just mauled about that.
hmm It's pretty wacky. I think, yeah, that gets like people a little bit impatient about the mechanic overall because you don't know where it's gonna stop most of the time. Because sometimes it's like travels a lot and sometimes it's like spawns you instantly. And it has to do with like how much time you spent spinning out before falling off the map. But like it's still like feels a little bit random at times.
Does. Either of you have anything else to say on Respawn Snake?
I'm not really sure how it can be fixed outside of hard code. I would say a wish list. You shouldn't ever move up in placements from respawning ever. It is the most infuriating thing in the world where you're just driving and then someone respawns in front of you. It also shouldn't be faster to respawn than to drive on the track or to do sections of the track, such as on I think it's Sky Sanctuary. There's like like an upwards tunnel where it's faster to just drive off to the right than to go through the tunnel. You only lose like 3 rings if you respawn cheese.
But I think that one ends up becoming more of a map design thing than anything else. So that might be a case by case basis.
I would say half a map design thing, half a mechanic thing.
That's fair.
I don't know how. Well, Jelly, can mappers say, "Hey, don't respawn here"?
Mm, you can only put some of the waypoints as like shortcuts so you don't like spawn in off road, but other than that, I don't recall you can do that.
The old
Probably
Bagel
you.
says yes. Oh,
Oh, okay.
Nick says yes.
Yeah.
Gives the waypoint the no respawn flag. Well, there you go. But thing is, though, it's a vanilla map, and I don't think the vanilla mappers are going to touch it, and I don't think they're going to allow us to touch it.
Oh, they could prove you wrong, bro. We're still like 2 months in.
Pretty early.
I think a little bit of faith will go a long way, but we'll see what happens with that. And I guess before we move on to the poll stuff, outside of anything, any other topics you two would want to touch, I think the other mechanics that I think we should talk about here are hit stun and hit stop specifically. Because, ooh boy, is the opinion mixed on this shit.
Okay. I'm fine with, well, I don't like tumble, but I'm fine with regular hit stun. I'm fine with hit stop. I'm fine with stumble.
I think for the players with like a higher ping, it's pretty damning to have like such extended amount of like hit stop and hit stun. I think it's fine to like register sometimes like that you are getting hit, but sometimes it just feel like it lasts forever and like you already like change directions on the control and like fuck up your line due to that. But I'm fine with the like idea itself.
I think the only place where I don't really like hit stop, and this is something that I think Cake brought up before, is the only, like, I don't like it that it's on tripwires. Because it feels a little awkward to go
Agreed.
through shortcuts sometimes, but I can also understand why it's there. Because the shortcuts would already, like, would just be better than they already are.
Mhm.
Without you losing, like, that little half second. So that one's like a fickle balancing act, but I guess we'll just see. I think hit stun can
Nick
be pretty
also
damning
said,
sometimes.
Nick also said that he thinks that hit stop shouldn't be applied to stationary objects like bananas. I agree with him on that. It should only be applied to like very big hits, very fast hits.
Maybe, but I think I can see why they put it on stationary items too, because I think it's more in response to the player and not the item.
Mhm.
Because if you're a player just moving like a million miles an hour and you hit a banana and
Oh,
there's no hit stop
yeah,
on
but
it,
it applies whether you're going fast or you're going slow.
yeah, but I'm saying for like the instances where you're going fast, if you get hit by something while you're going like a million miles an hour, like if you hit a stationary banana and you start spinning out, you're gonna be like, what happened to me? Why am I spinning out? I just think it's one of those. It hit stop in some cases still feels like more of a band-aid, like than anything to the speed you go in this game, but I think it's fine in the places that it's applied for the most part.
Mhm.
If it only applied when you're going fast, I'd be fine with it. But it seems to be an all or nothing thing.
I
And
think
also
it
since
needs
you
to
meant,
be consistent though. It just needs to be like toned down a little bit, I am.
well, it doesn't apply to insta whip, or at least the person using it.
It does though, I think it does.
Yeah.
Person getting hit or the person using it.
I think for both, but I think you'll need the referee for that one. I'm pretty sure, because you stop for like a split second when you hit somebody too.
Yeah. Pretty sure it does too.
Come on, bro, you never whip somebody.
Hell yeah.
Well, do we have any other game mechanics we want to talk about here, or are we done with this topic?
Oh well, you did mention briefly going really fast, not knowing what hit you. Wouldn't that be covered by hit list, or as it was previously known, hit feed?
If and when we start using it, yeah. Timmy asked about Sliptide and Jade asked about Triangle Dash. I guess we can briefly just talk about the general driving in this game, because I'll say this again. I think the driving and the mechanics they added specifically for the driving in this game are really good. Triangle Dash feels amazing. Sliptiding is really good, probably too good in this game, especially because you can do it for free with the power items. And then I think everything in tandem with the rings when you're actually using them feels really good. But I think a lot of the problems just come from like items in particular.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think slip tiding, wave dashing, and triangle dashing all feel great in this game.
I feel bad for drifting though, because it's not as powerful anymore.
Agreed.
Like you will rather build the wave dash than like build a red spark, and it's harder in general to get like even blue sparks in this game. Or the first one, I think it's red now. I forgot.
Yeah, it goes red. It goes red, then blue, then
Yeah.
purple, then rainbow.
I mean, this is probably just placebo, but I think it's only the first spark that feels really hard to get sometimes. I think after you get the first one, it feels like they build up a little bit faster. And I don't
Yeah.
know if the math on that is actually true or not, but I think there's still value to some of the drifting, especially when you get stuff like voltage, especially on Excel characters too.
Oh,
You can squeeze out a lot of blues more in this game than you ever could, like in V1.
Hmm.
voltage feels good. Yeah, agreed.
Just
Yeah, I
please.
feel like you don't go for reds that much anymore. You only need to like really correct your angle and like go fast with your rings.
I think it's just turn dependent, character dependent. Maybe if we played more different stat blocks, we would see.
Yeah. Because drifting for a while like starts killing your speed, so you if you like have a jackpot or something, you really only want to correct your angle.
Then I think that about sums it up for the state of the game over here. Let me go ahead and this quick. Gonna pop this up. I think I'm briefly gonna go over some of the survey results, because if everyone remembers, we put out the post-tourney survey for the Saturn Showdown over there after it ended, and there's a few things to highlight from it, at least from what I would say. I think people overall, the reception to the tournament itself, it kind of leaned more towards the side of good, but there was some mixed. And people thought we ran things well, so I think that's the most important part to me, because we can definitely take the criticism of the things that people didn't enjoy about the tournament and at least try and fix them for the future. Because people left a lot of good
Agreed.
ideas. A lot of people really like the redemption bracket too, so I think that's a good sign for whether or not in the future we do like actual redemption or actual losers brackets. I think we have better ideas for like trying to actually implement them going forward too, so they don't feel like they just cut into like the regular bracket and vice versa. A really interesting statistic over here is one of the questions I asked is how large people thought map pools should be for the tournaments. And I think that's probably the most mixed results we got, because I basically asked in increments of 25 all the way up to 151. And it was pretty split across the board, but I think the one that got the most votes was around 51 to 75 maps, which is I think something we agree on, and that'll probably be the ballpark for going forward, how many maps we run per tournament.
About the map list, yeah, I think it's good and like more about like getting bad maps out of the way. It's more about like getting the best maps like more frequently in the rotation. And probably like also give the players that are participating like a smaller scale like set of maps that they have to practice if they practice them.
I think that's the big one though, at least for me. I think with a smaller pool in the future, people are going to be able to practice the maps that they actually need to practice a bit easier. So people can get better on the maps in a smaller pool rather than having to like divert their attention across a huge pool of like 151. And that's nothing against like a majority of the maps that make it in, because also on this survey we asked people how good they thought the map, like the vanilla map quality in this game was, and a lot of it was towards the higher end. And I think we can agree on that too. The maps are really good, but some of them are just better than others. So not every good map is just gonna make
Agreed.
it in. Although I can't lie, bro, there are some definite stinkers in this game.
Yeah, we don't want people to practice Carnival Night a million times.
Why not? What's wrong with Carnival Night?
It's wacky.
It's an interesting track. It exists in the game, wouldn't you say?
Mhm.
Also, hi there, Raymara.
Hello.
Going back to some of the survey results here, just a little bit more summary. I think people agreed on a lot of the state of the game stuff we were saying, because the results over here were pretty mixed in the bag. When I asked people to rate the items in terms of like where they stand balanced wise, the biggest standouts over here included Jaws, Invincibility, Shrink, and then Garden Top all had votes leaning towards being overtuned rather than balanced. I think that pretty much surmises what we were thinking.
Pretty much.
A good
Some of
chunk
them.
of people had Grow, which I think, if I read into it, I feel like that leans more towards the fact that it's tied to Shrink. A few people had SPV, and a few people had Drop Target as overtuned, and then some people also put Ring Boxes as overtuned. But it did not, none of those, but all of those had more votes for being balanced than they did as for being overtuned. SPB is actually an interesting one that we didn't talk about. I completely forgot about that item, because it only appears every 1 in 100 races.
Or in Daytona and City Escape over there.
Yeah. Do either of you have any brief notes on that item?
It's a pretty damning item for everyone involved actually. Because if you're in first, the spin out is super long and it will kill your race. Like if you get hit by it on on Joy Police too. If you get hit by it in City Escape, consider your race done because it's at the final turn. And if you're like behind it, I feel like it's like way more consistent at hitting people now, like people that don't aren't even in first place.
I mean, it kind of goes out of its way to hit people while it's like catching up to first, right?
Mhm.
Like it'll swerve across the road and kick your ass out of the way when you're like minding your own business.
Yeah, it's not even your fault.
Agreed.
I think, I mean, it rarely pops up, so I guess this is more of like a situational issue, but I think it's really like a double damning item, and it contributes more to the idea of why would I ever want to front run? Because you get double punished for getting this item pulled against you. People behind you get more value because they get juice box rings from V1 that let them catch up to you easier, and you can't pick up rings off the ground, so you have a harder time sustaining your own speed.
Mhm.
So in a game where front running is already punished to the level that it is, and you just get kicked in the shins even harder for getting the SPB pulled on you. But that's at least my opinion.
Agreed. And certain tracks have a guaranteed. They have SPB capsules.
Just never being first. Easy.
I think that's the play. I can't lie.
Mhm. That was a play in the tournament.
It was.
Yeah.
It all goes back to that.
I guess the only other note for the items part of the survey over here is that 2 items got considerably more underwhelming votes than any other item in the game. Ball hogs and bananas were considered greatly underwhelming, which I think is fair too.
I just wish like firing ball hogs was a little bit faster. I like that you can like fire them at the pace you want, but sometimes it does feel like punishing or laggy when you're trying to fire them because it takes us so long to charge all five.
Mm.
But that's about it. I like how the item is a siren right now. Like a little shotgun that doesn't bounce.
Do you think it's better without the bounce now?
I I am neutral in that, but I like it the way it is right now. Only if it will like charge a little bit faster.
And what say you, G?
You said ball hog and banana were the two worst.
They were the two that had the most votes for underwhelming items from the survey.
I agree with banana. I would rather have a ball hog than a banana. As for ball hog, I think when it's still wall balanced, it was a good item, especially mid pack. Now it's still decent, but not as good. I don't know why they nerfed it when it was already on the weaker side. And yeah, I just think if offensive items aside from Jaws and trap items in this game are just underwhelming in general.
But would you say, I guess this is for both of you then, would you say that's more how the items themselves are designed, or just how because of how oppressive power items are?
It has a lot to do with like how yeah the game is assigned right now. With rings too.
It's kind of hard to say.
Hmm.
It's a little bit of both. Well, it's more like it's a little bit of being able to choose your own item, a little bit of all of the ring racers items being just way better, and it's also a little bit of a recovery being better. So even if you do hit someone with a ball hog, it just burns some pop some rings and they're back up to speed like nothing happened, or at least spin dash away like nothing happened. I would compare it almost to playing on like V1 juice box.
Cool though. And moving on to the final section over here then, of the survey. Going over some of the highlights, because we asked about game mechanics too. People were asked from like a list of 30 mechanics to rate them based on if they liked them, if they were neutral, or if they disliked them. And most mechanics actually had, if not overwhelming, a majority of people liked the mechanics in this game, but a few of them stood out as like people not liking them, and that includes Tumble, Dare Jank, Crusher Hazards. Actually, those were the only three that had votes going in the negative direction. But a few of the mechanics also had very mixed results, which included Stumble, Hit Stop, Hit Stun, item boxes and their size and their amount, respawn mechanics, underwater driving, length of races, and current item on roulettes, which I think most of that is stuff we already addressed.
Hmm.
Okay, we've addressed most of that, but I'll go over what we haven't addressed. We didn't talk about crushers. Oh, the big sticking point with those is that they just bugged at the moment. If you finish a race and then your ghost drives into a crusher and explodes, it just messes up your placements. So just on that alone, uh, endorse crushers outside of maybe like casual servers. if they fix it though, I think even if they do fix it, it's still extremely punishing to get crushed. And also people can put trap items underneath, well, in the area where the crushers come down. So even if you get a good cycle, then well, the area is still trapped and you can't take it. Or you'll get hit for taking it. I know CGB has some kind of lure regarding the crushers where like if you get crushed, you don't explode, and you can't put items underneath a crusher. But again, that's mods. That's not base game.
What say you,
Yeah,
Joey?
I agree that it's too punishing because other than having like minus 20 rings, it's the only way to die in the game. And the animation takes like forever. So from like outside of the current bug, yeah, that's the only thing I don't like about the crushers.
Since we're on the topic of the crusher hazards anyways, let me pick your brain about this one, guys. I forgot to mention this, but cycle hazards also had a mixed vote as well. So how do you feel about the implementation of cycle hazards in this game?
They're fast, most of them.
I
Yeah.
agree that most of them are fast, and also they're way more common than they were in V1. In V1, basically the only track that you would encounter that had cycle hazards was Toxic Palace. In Ring Racers, they seem to be in like every other track.
Hmm. It is a master class on like how to place your hazards, Toxic Palace. Because yeah, if you see maps like Marble Garden that has like the spike balls, probably the ones at the beginning are like dodgeable, but the ones in like the big straightaway
In the
are
hallway,
almost blind. Yeah.
yeah. And also, if you do the spring strat on a Marble Garden, where like you drive into the red spring on the wall to go down that hallway as fast as possible, is basically a 50-50, you get hit or not. And
Hmm.
that's the fastest way to go through that hallway.
Yeah. Another hazard is Coastal Temple. The doors are super like close so fast.
I
Yeah,
thought
Don't
the
the
the doors give you don't the doors give you some kind of like they start to shake or something before they change?
for like a frame.
Yeah, yeah. What Diggle just said, they have a very clear tell.
They flash kind of fast. I guess I'm just getting old.
I think I'm getting old too because I
Once
feel the same way.
once I knew the tell, I thought they were okay. Before I knew the tell, I thought, oh, you just fucked. It's random.
I think for me, I just
Yeah,
don't like how fast some of them are in this game. Because with the cycle
agreed.
hazards that move, some of them that move as fast as they do, it feels overwhelming with everything else going on in a race. Because you can have like a million different things happening right next to you, and then you have to pay attention to that also, and it just feels like wow. And that's probably more of a personal issue for me. Maybe I'm just bad, but I'm just like, damn.
If
Yeah.
if
And
you
then
if you
you're
try to be if you try to be cautious and come to almost a complete stop and actually wait for this hazard, you'll just get slammed into from behind by someone with a fucking power item, or they'll just push you into it, which is insanely annoying. And then also, that- the hazards are also a good spot to trap things. So, like, they just brought up Carnival Night. You can, even if you correctly navigate, like, let's say the bridge at the end, you know how it gets an arrow every single lap?
Yeah.
You can just put a trap on the narrow, like that last lap. It's just super narrow and it's almost undodgeable.
Why didn't you take that promotion,
And
bro?
he's
We could have used it.
It's your channel, bro.
It's our channel, bro. Don't say that.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's our channel, but you made it.
Damn, you got me.
Well, once you tell me the stream key, I'll say it's our channel.
Okay, after stream, after stream. Unless you want me to leak in the chat right now.
No, after stream, of course.
Okay. Well, I think at least for the survey that covers everything. I will say we got 39 responses to this, and I appreciate everybody who took the time to fill this out because there were a lot of good opinions and ideas on here. We'll
Can
definitely
you
be
just
using
list
some
the
of
mechanics?
this.
Can you just list the mechanics again? Because I think there were a few we didn't go over or comment on
I mean, you want me to list all of them? The ones I
in
didn't
the
list.
survey.
Oh, well, the ones I didn't list were the ones that were positively received over here. So you just want me to
The ones
go
that
over the
got mixed
ones?
results. We don't really have to go over the ones that most people like or most people dislike.
Well, I can tell you the other mixed ones again. Stumble was another mixed one, and we didn't really talk about that. Do you want to put a note on for that one?
Keep going.
Hit stun and hit stop we talked about. We talked about stair jank. We talked about underwater driving, respawn mechanics. Another one that got a lot of mixed results, which we probably didn't really talk about, was item boxes in terms of their
Uh,
size and the amount, like per item set.
Okay, I just remembered something regarding respawns.
Uh-oh.
So there is within Fin Vanilla, there is currently a big respawn glitch. It would only affect 4 servers, not so much modded servers, because every modded server is running the Lua that prevents it. But that's something else that needs to be mentioned regarding respawns.
Yeah.
Jade, Stumble is like the in-between state of tumble and regular spin out. Like when you get hit by someone that's in grow. You sort of get knocked forward, you flip over a few times, but it's not a full-blown tumble.
It's fine.
I agree, it's fine. I'd rather have that than tumble.
Yeah.
Well, GC, did you have any notes about the item box stuff, or did you want me to keep going?
I have a little bit of notes about the item box stuff. He has messed around with the respawn rate on item boxes and ring boxes. They made it so that they respawn faster, and then it also respawns based off of the timer is based off of the number of players in the race. Or it scales with the number of players in the race, which might be a good idea.
Oh, but I think I guess for regular net games, yeah, but I think for at least tournament play, because we're probably gonna stick to 8 players for the foreseeable future, that it's fine, right?
Yeah. For competitive play. For casual play, we might have to use their ring box, item box Lua.
I mean, I can agree with you there, bro. Playing on 15-player lobbies and salivating at the mouth trying to get a fucking item box or any
Yeah,
kind of ring
yeah.
box, my god.
Yep. Yep.
Do you like snare
And the
change,
Lua
anyone?
also affects like the capsules, because those are also the vanilla, those also have like a hard coded like timer. And then it's kind of an oversight that whether you're playing with 8 people or 15 people, the capsules stay the same, respawn the same rate.
Those are all very good points. Do you have anything to add to that, Jelly?
I feel like the item boxes, like the regular, is used like 3 per item set. I think only like one more wouldn't be that bad.
So
But
4.
that's as much as I will change. Like even 3 doesn't like I don't think it's that bad, TBH. Maybe just to account for like servers with more players, but I think they're fine. If we are sticking with 8 players at least on for tournaments and events.
Yeah, when we do the 24 player knockouts next year or sometime in the future, I think we'll need to change that shit though.
Maybe.
Agreed.
Okay, let me keep going down the list for you, GC. Length of races, basically the pacing of races in this game.
Okay. So I know I'm the exception to this. We had this discussion in V1. I don't mind long races. I've played racing games, mostly like sim racers, where races are very long, much longer than V1 or ring racers or kart racers in general. But I don't mind. But the player base is not like a race going over like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. And this has been a thing since V1. But what to say about that? I would rather give deference to the player base rather than my own preference. So I'm fine with having short races or shorter races.
I feel like, at least for the vanilla game though, I think the paces of the races are pretty good where they are. At least to me, because I don't mind the longer races either. I think it's probably just going to be a problem when it comes to custom maps, because people are going to learn how to balance their maps in terms of how long they go for. Because I think from the few I've played already, some of the pacing is a little rough, but I'm sure it'll get better.
Let me just respond to the chat real quick. Diggle says the problem with item sets is how easy it is to not get an item or a ring box at all, considering how pivotal they are to you playing the game properly at all. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It's super damning to miss
Chilindo,
an item set.
Chilindo, Jade, 24 player knockout, 24 player ring racers. What are you insane? People, there are already EXE mods for ring racers. There are already 2. Although they haven't increased the cap on player count yet, to my knowledge, that is one thing they are working on. So yes, there may in the future there may be a 24 player knockout tournament.
That would
Maybe.
be insane though. That's probably still not going to happen for a little while.
It would be insane.
It would be real funny. That'd be a real good spectator sport.
I don't know about it. I don't know if there are even 100 players period for this fucking game.
Well, there's 100 players, but I don't know if you can get 100 people playing at the same time on a server like that.
I mean, I agree with you, but I think we're the exceptions in this community, not the rule. Most people in this community like 90-second races, 120-second races, at the most, 2 minute and a half races. They don't like 5 minute races, 7 minute races. Look at how much complaining people did over Def Egg Zone. Def Egg Zone is like a regular ass race in like any other like realistic racing game.
Yeah, but this also isn't a realistic racing game, so I guess it just depends on which side of the
Galindo,
argument you land on.
Elam would be good, and I heard it was supposedly supposed to be a vanilla game mode in Ring Racers, but it got scrapped during Feature Freeze. I don't know how true that is. And it probably will get ported. As for who will port it, I don't know, but it probably will get ported.
Yeah, I think that I think I need that kind of car too, Diggle. Oh my god. Doesn't that sound
Yeah,
awesome?
yeah, Diggle.
Mhm.
Gas prices are absurd. Yeah,
But the ring economy is where it's at. Alright, the last 2 things over here, if either of you want to say anything on either of these before we move on to the final big topic. From the survey over here, for the things that people were mixed on, people had some mixed opinions on ring debt, and then there were way more mixed opinions on the current item mod for the roulette.
okay. So regarding ring debt and like blowing up when you already you get like negative 20 rings and get hit again. I think it's already extremely punishing to get hit in ring racers by anything. Having ring debt on top of that, or having people blow up on top of that, is too much.
Maybe, but I think people rarely blow up in the first place anyways, because you really got to be trying to get to negative 20 rings.
Hmm.
I agree that people rarely blow up, but being in ring debt, that's pretty, or having 0 rings, that's pretty common.
Yeah. I think ring debt as a mechanic is fine. I think the damning part about it, which is another thing I don't like in this game, is just like the lack of iframes. Because if you're in ring debt and somebody runs into you, somebody else can run
Agreed.
into you, then somebody else can run into you, and then you get hit by an item, and then you finally like finish your spin out and you get a few iframes, and that's the part that I think really sucks. So it's like more of lack of like any invincibility from getting hit.
Also, hi there, Seaside.
Hey, Seaside.
What about you, Jelly? What you think?
I think I guess the defensive play in this game just comes down to like not wasting your ranks, because it is the most like damning, or like one of the most damning situations you can be in. But I guess it's avoidable, I guess. That's like the only thing I can really say. Like, it's probably just a skill issue, but we'll see in the future. Because people like in this game, you can just like be mashing the ring button like willy-nilly. You need to think a little bit, and I like that part, like not like managing that.
You like people having to use their brains?
Mm-hmm. It's good game design.
Okay. Last one here. Current item roulette odds.
I
We
think
kind of
Neo.
dis
Go ahead.
we kind of discussed that earlier, but I feel that item odds in this game are too generous. Went from one extreme to the other, where V1 was too stingy, and now in V2 they're too generous.
Yeah, I think Neo had a very good point earlier. They say that it just leads to like predictable gameplay, because other than like the item roulettes being like the same always, you can always react. Like for example, there's an item roulette in the back that starts with 2 rows. You already know that after the adjust, you will get your embeds over there. So yeah, it just leads to repetitive gameplay.
Yeah. Do you think with the way that item odds currently work and how it's so easy to pick the items that you want, do you think it's going to lead to this game becoming stale in the item department? Because
If
that's what
there's
I'm
always
feeling.
Yeah, because you always have like a best choice in every at least for now, yeah, there's always like
Scenario.
embeds, yeah. Like there's no scenario, or at least in like super rare case where you will like want to pull a banana or a bumper, or like a case where you want to pull like rocket sneakers over an embeds, or like triple sneakers over an embeds. There's just like just more dirt to like fuck you over, I guess, more than like helping you make a choice.
Pretty much, yeah. All right.
But I can see the argument for it. I understand what Seaside is saying over there. Like sometimes RNG just feels bad, but now you're not competing with the RNG of your own items. You're competing with like everyone else. Like the RNG just goes back to another place instead of the roulette itself.
Well, I think that just about covers everything on the survey then. So I think we're done with that part. We've only really got one topic left here now, and this is more just about the server and talking about things that are coming up in the future that we're going to be doing. So unless you guys have any further notes on anything we talked about previously, I think we can start talking about that.
Yep, you can move on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess it's time for some of the fun stuff, huh? Let me see here.
Driver school.
What'd you say? Driver school?
Fun,
Should we try
fun
hard?
TM.
Uh,
Having more tutorials for this game, because the in-game tutorial is kind of skimpy, would be nice, yes. But only really Arcade Striker is the only one trying to sort of do video tutorials for this game.
Yeah. Shout out to Arcade Striker. I took all my
Agreed.
growth strength videos from growth strength points from his video.
doing good work over
But
there.
it will be cool to like do some bud reviews. Like if someone wants to improve, I guess they can send their their replays. Maybe in the future.
Agreed.
Alright. I guess it's time to leak the next two tournament projects then. THP Metafy? You fucking wish. So the next tournament we're running, and I guess this also has to do with the poll over here. One of the questions we asked on the poll is which game modes would people like to see us run next? And the one that got the most votes by a long shot was 4v4, like a team mode, but I think we came to the consensus that we're probably going to wait until an official team mode gets ported over by somebody, if not ourselves, if we have to do it at some point. So we're
Yeah,
going to
by
be waiting on that.
someone whose username starts with a T.
Ends with an N, 5 letters long.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of jarting. I agree.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
It is. But the second game mode that got the most votes on the poll was actually 2v2. So there's your early leak. The next tournament we're going to be doing is duos over there. And
Diggle, we'll do a battle tournament as soon as it gets fixed for dedicated servers.
yes,
So maybe V2.4.
that's true too. Also, it
That's
isn't Combi
Yeah,
Neo.
we'll do a combi tournament when Haya makes it so that you can just pick your friend. And that you don't have like infinite ring boost and the other issues it has at the moment.
Damn. If you want to host that, Joey, go ahead. But yeah, we're basically doing duos. You have a friend, your scores get combined at the end of a set together. And we're still working on drafting out all the rules for that, so that'll probably get announced sometime soon, but we're definitely we're definitely writing out a lot more stuff this time based on some of the feedback we got.
Yes.
I can already tell you, a couple items are just gonna be gone. Because I don't think there's anything you can do to make shrink balance right now.
For now.
Team chat is in the game, but there is no team mode. Yes, that's correct. As for why that is, ask Car Crew. I don't know.
Maybe it's like for a future
A placeholder, yeah.
feature, yeah. So we'll just have to wait. I'm excited.
Same.
Did I leak the World Finals right now too?
Proximity chatting game, yeah, sure.
Okay, sure, why not?
I mean, V1, certain builds of V1 already had proximity VC with Mumble. So it can be done.
Here's the other big tournament project we're working on. I can actually send the link for this one too in the chat over here. This is on the THP document. under the
Chill and Dough. Sign up. You sign up with your friend
yeah,
or your partner.
and we'll probably have something in place to where if you don't have anybody you'd want to sign up with, we'll pair you with somebody who also doesn't have a partner. But here you go. If anybody wants to go look at this, this is the other big project we're working on. It's under the RRWF tab. If you were around for V1 over there and you saw us run the Quambo Jackson stuff, this is basically that but for V2. We're gonna do like an invitational type thing at the end of the year with 16 spots. And basically a bunch of different tournaments and different things are gonna feed into it. Including the first 2 tournaments that already got played.
Hell yeah.
More details are gonna come on that soon, but that's all I really have to say right now. We'll probably make an announcement at some point here soon. So more people can see this. But that should be a fun one. It'll be a good way to like get people involved too. And actually give out prizes, because what we ended up doing for the first one is we had a lot of prizes based off of like getting artists to do like commissions for the people who were participating. So we had 12 prizes for 12 slots of people. We're probably just going to do 16 prizes for 16 slots of people. So everybody who gets to this tournament is just going to be able to like get something fun so they can at least have something no matter what place they get. We also need a better name, but I don't have anything yet. So I'll have to pick QP or Denim's brain for that.
Yes, the name is tentative for now.
Yeah. What else do I have here? Let me go see. Oh yeah, we'll probably, maybe not with the same group of people here, because it was me, Jelly, and GC for this first one for the regular podcast, just to talk about stuff for the game, the server, and the tournament. But we'll be also doing a different kind of podcast at some point in the future, where we go over like different maps that have been released and unreleased and stuff, and just giving our thoughts and opinions on them. I guess the appeal would be for more of like a competitive side, because that's kind of what we focus on.
It'll basically be the return of Energy Artcast and our Artcast.
So look to that one, because there are some very good maps on the MB now, with the release of that Mega Cup over there.
Yeah, so Diggle, Mizu, Seaside, Big Ola. You want to submit something for us to critique. We're always open.
Well, Big O and Mizu might just be participating anyways, but we'll see. I guess the only other 2 things of note. Oh no, Diggle's giving you the leaks over there. But the only other 2 things of notes that I think I have to leak is we are also working on a global rules document for the tournament stuff now that we have more of an idea about this game. And that has some influence from the survey results we got, so don't worry, we're still taking that into account. And we'll probably do we did like a little in-house celebrity predictions game for the last tournament that we're probably going to keep on doing for the rest of the tournaments as just like a funny little side hustle for all the tournaments with no real prize on the line. But we'll probably make a public version of that at some point, so people can watch their pick'ems get ruined as this random game throws all the favorites into the losers bracket round 1. And that's about it, really. At least that's all I have to say.
Cool.
What about you two?
Final thoughts. Game is good. Keep playing.
Game is very good.
Agreed.
Game is very
Agreed.
fun. And I think that's the most important part, that the game is fun. It's just got some issues, but like with any game, that can be ironed out over time.
Either the devs will fix it or ours will fix it. All right, Dante, do you have an outro video?
No, I don't. But now I'm scared to play one because I blew people's ears up earlier, bro. I didn't
It's
even know
fine.
that video Jelly sent me had fucking audio.
It's fine. So how about we just raid Glitch Kitten?
I don't even know how to raid, bro. You gotta log in and do that shit.
No, it's easy. Just type in chat /raid space
Here, I'll do this one
glitch
too.
underscore.
Never
I
knew,
can
never.
DM you the command.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Glitch underscore kitten.
Brain
Thanks
Slayer.
for watching.
Yes. Thank you everybody for coming out and listening. We all do appreciate it, and we appreciate you guys playing in our tournaments and stuff. It wouldn't be possible without you guys. Also, so weird.
Thanks
Yeah.
for tuning in and chatting. Just paste it in the chat.
Oh, I see. Okay. See y'all around, gamers. Oh, it's over. They have rating off GC. How could you have done this to me? I'm so
Oh.
embarrassed now.
They're logging
I didn't
off,
know they
or
had.
what?
No, I didn't know they had rating off. That's strange.
Oh, lol.
Because lots of people raid into them. Maybe it's because they're doing an event for Festival of the Ages. We can raid someone else. Tyrone's streaming.
Tyrone is
Right now.
streaming. Holy Blade. My
Yeah.
god.
Holy Blade is streaming.
That's my favorite streamer though. I'll raid Tyrone next time. He's live, I'm
Right.
sorry. Holy Blade is above all.
Of course.
Once again, see you gamers, and if it doesn't work this time, I'm going to cry. It's over. He doesn't allow it either. I'm ending stream right now.
It's because the account is brand new.
It's over, bro. I'm gonna cry. I'm turning it off, bro. Goodbye.